The Jets lost in horrible fashion this week, having the game won and then giving it up to Baker Mayfield at the end. But despite all that, I still don't think there's really a problem, and I actually think they should be looking positively at this close loss. Let's be honest with the Jet situation. There are just some things which are controllables, and there are certain things that are uncontrollables. For instance, just being the Jets, that's an uncontrollable. But one thing as well that's been uncontrollable, specifically this week, was Justin Fields going out and leaving a couple of weeks ago with the injury. So yes, you had a week to prepare, get Tyrod Taylor ready, but that's not your starting quarterback. Although I do like the fact that they got someone very interestingly close in styles. Justin Fields, they wanted to be the guy this season. So for that to happen, now you're playing with a backup quarterback, and really, I actually think they performed kind of well. Now, I think they should be happy? I actually do. I think with Aaron Glenn, they're getting almost closer to winning these games. Like the Bucs are a good team. The Steelers at least beat bad teams all the time. So I do think like the fact that you're getting close, that you have. Let me put it like this. I think the fact that they have a functional offense is truly the best sign that we've seen from them. Now, in the first half, they did, and I mean, Tyrod made some errors. Like, he fumbled the ball away. You can't do that. That was a huge mistake. And then down to 13-6, it was an interesting situation. But 2-minute warning, 2-minute drill. They're trying to go down the field. They're trying to get a field goal up on the board. It's still a close game, yada, yada. But then Tyrod Taylor throws a terrible pick six that you just can't have just throwing it to the left side on a little curl. It got jumped, and they were off to the races. So that play clearly cannot happen, but that's why he's not your starting quarterback. Now, how long will Justin Fields be out? I guess probably at least another week with a concussion. And at this point, you don't really – I don't even know if you want to rush him at 0-3, but I definitely think you want to put him back in there. But in the second half, when Tyrod started calming down, they kept running the ball. They refused to stop running the ball with Breece Hall, and that's one sign of a good coach. He didn't just air it out with Tyrod Taylor. He's saying, okay, he made a terrible play, and this is a 2-touchdown lead, but that's not insurmountable. And I think that mindset, very good from Aaron Glenn and whoever's calling the offensive plays. And I'm going to look up just so I can get that information for you guys. But I think that Breece Hall just going north and south. They were using the backup as well, Braylon Allen to go north and south, and Tyrod Taylor just start hitting those little check downs, hitting those little plays, and they were moving the ball. They ended up scoring one of the touchdowns, getting a big stop against the Bucs, scoring again. Suddenly, they were down 6 points in the fourth quarter, incredibly. Now, did the Bucs go down the field? The Bucs went right down the field, scored. I actually think the defense is a little bit of a concern, but it was kind of a concern last year. My bigger overall thing with Aaron Glenn is he does have to show me he can be really good on defense. We've seen the new guy, Kelvin Shepard, come in from the Lions, and he's had a good kind of early season performance. So at some point, I think we're gonna have to see that from Aaron Glenn. But this year, maybe get the weapons, get the people. I think that their offensive line play isn't terrible. Which is a good sign. So that means you can kind of move on to the next thing. That's one of the first things. It's like the studs of the house. And their offensive coordinator is Tanner Engstrand. Came over from the Detroit Lions. He's doing a solid job. They're not doing anything crazy. They were much better earlier in the season, obviously, in that first game with Justin Fields. They fully run their offense. They want to do a lot of read option stuff with Breece Hall, Allen, and Fields kind of being those three backs, even though Fields quarterback. But those three guys who can run the ball, and then getting Garrett Wilson open in those opportunities. I still think even with Tyrod, though, they did a solid job with that. And then late in the game, give yourself a chance. You stop Baker from scoring, or you stop him in field goal range, and then you get a huge block, big blocked field goal. What is his name? By Will McDonald. Big play from Will McDonald there to block it, recover it, and take it in for the end zone. We've seen so many blocks this week in huge situations. So for Will McDonald to do that, timed it up, jumped over the center, boom, then gets up, boom, then blocks it, and then takes off. And that took the lead. Had Todd Bowles on the sideline, filming, dancing and shit. They had really high vibes. And then Baker came out in the field. They couldn't get a stop again, and they went to kick the field goal, won the game. But for the Jets, I don't think a lot of people thought you'd be this close in the game. I even laughed when doing the odds. I thought that the Bucs would smoke the Jets in this game. So they're still showing that fight, especially with a backup quarterback in Tyrod Taylor versus Todd Bowles. But overall, big picture, I still don't think you can really have any takeaways on this Jets, team. But at a certain point, this is the unfortunate thing. You're the Jets. You start off and you're bad. Right? At some point, you got to start winning those types of games. And it doesn't mean it has to be that week, against the Bucs. But they play the Dolphins this week. Monday night, it's Miami. You're playing against a dead man walking head coach. At a certain point, right, for the players to listen, you got to win some games. And I think against the Dolphins, this is a solid opportunity for them. But they aren't favored. The Dolphins are favored by 2.5, even though the Dolphins haven't won a game and look bad. Most would say that 2 is better than Tyrod Taylor. Honestly, at this point, it depends. Tyrod Taylor threw a pick that was terrible. But you could argue Tyrod better than Tua. Tua is very inaccurate going down the field right now, and they can't really stretch the field. So at that point, they're all going to be within the same area. Tyrod can at least run a little bit. Now, Tua has better passing plays to go. A-Chain might even have better weapons. Hypothetically, the Jets should have a better defense, but who really knows at this point? And that's the thing with the Jets. There's just so much to figure out about this team, about where they're going to try to build next, I still don't know if you even get a quarterback at this point. But I do think that those were some tough games, tough losses, but I think that it was an impressive performance. And even though they lost in heartbreaking fashion, I don't think you should be too hurt, because at the end of the day, the Jets were never making the playoffs, and every loss you get is going to get you closer to the 1 seed that you badly need to kind of rebuild this organization, whether you want to do it with a quarterback or whether you want to trade it back and get more. And I think that if I'm the Jets, that would be the move. Just get more surrounding parts. Get some D linemen again. Get some linebackers. Really, the defense is the problem. I think the offense, get a lineman, obviously at some point, but I think the offense, I think the weapons, I think you have Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall looks like he's been revitalized. Maybe you get another receiver. Lazard's okay. But if you can even run Fields back again next year. But they need a lot of help, clearly, on both sides of the ball. And I wouldn't say too much, but I definitely think they need a quarterback, at some point in the future. So we'll see if the Jets can do that. But first things first, it's tough, right? I'm saying you want to lose to get a better pick, but you got to win at some point for those players and the organization to not just turn on you. And it's not going to be like a coup d'etat like it was with Aaron Rodgers, where he just took over the whole ship. But you want the players to like you and like the fact and like what you're trying to build as an organization. So we'll see what happens with the Jets going forward. Typical Jets loss. What am I going to do? They went out there and lost the game. But we'll see what they do upcoming Monday Night Football, 7 o'clock, taking on the Dolphins.